On today's episode, enter a world of horror and magic, where kung fu masters do battle with dark wizards to protect the souls of the dead, where brother is pitted against brother, and where the final battle for power will be fought in... Oh, never mind, movie's over. We watched Shaolin vs. Evil Dead as 2 months of Halloween begins today on Nothing Spookies?
Welcome back, however you wish to self-identify, to Nothing Movies, the podcast that is protected from evil by copious amounts of virgin piss. It's the podcast where we go through an actor's filmography and choose the most anonymous and culturally untalked about movies that they've made and decide whether or not they've got a certain something, or if they're just a whole lot of nothing. I'm Kaz Lesgard.
And I'm Jameson Rafter.
And this time of year we do things a little bit differently around here. Well, actually, we do things differently twice out of the year, but this time of year has nothing to do with pro wrestlers. I mean, I can't promise that, but it might not. It might not. But it's late August. Mm-hmm. It's late August, and that can only mean
it's time to get into the Halloween spirit.
That can only mean one thing. I have a spooky tale.
Okay.
To share with you both.
A spooky tale to tell?
A spooky tale to tell, to share with you, and to share to our guest, who I'm not going to introduce yet, but you can speak at any point. You can say anything at any time.
Great.
He has that gift. He has the gift of speech.
And that privilege.
Which I grant him. Thank you. I couldn't remember that word. I was on the bus earlier this month and passed a house, and I saw two people, clearly unhinged, putting up Christmas decorations.
Oh, fuck off.
In the middle of an unprecedented Vancouver heat wave. People are trying to get that blow-up Santa Claus looking just right on their lawn, which means, Jameson, we have to start even earlier than we normally start on the podcast.
This is a preemptive strike in the war on Christmas.
That's right, which of course means it's the beginning of 2 months of Halloween on the podcast. Now, normally what we do is we go through an actor's filmography and we talk about the movies that don't exist that they've made, but there's no precedent for Halloween, so we may talk about a horror actor's career.
We had one in mind.
We had one in mind. We'll probably do it. We're thinking about it, but, we might cover, like, a genre of music. We might just watch whatever we ding-dang well please.
Yeah, we might cover a monster. We might cover like a type of director, a different type of horror film. But this is a movie that I have been pushing for a while because this is a Jameson's choice. This is a Jameson's choice. We've watched crazy Hong Kong movies before. We've watched crazy horror movies before, but we have never watched a crazy Hong Kong horror movie before.
And this movie continues a long tradition in the history of horror movies and movies in general, where one monster meets another monster and things don't necessarily go all that well. A tradition that began all the way back when Bud Abbott and Lou Costello kicked Frankenstein's monster in the nuts and continued on the long tradition of Freddy
kicking monsters in the nuts.
Versus Jason, the girl from The Ring versus the lady from The Grudge,
Alien versus Predator,
Kong versus Godzilla, Kramer versus Kramer,
Superman versus Batman.
All the classics. And of course now we're getting to the one long awaited, the thing that people have been clamoring for years, where the Evil Dead meets the concept of Shaolin Buddhism.
That's right.
Kung Fu.
It's 2004, Shaolin versus the Evil Dead.
Yes. A movie that is, how do you say, not finished. a movie that is not done. It is a movie where the producers got together one day, and one of them said, "Look, I'll just be honest with you all. We're out of money. We got no money left. So why don't we take the movie that we have so far and we release it, and whatever money we make off of that, we finish the rest of the movie, and we'll just call it a sequel." And then one of the other producers said, "Should we come up with an ending to this movie?" And he said, "No, it's fine.
Too late.
We'll just finish in the middle of an action scene. No one will think that's super weird or anything." And then another of the producers spoke up and said, "What about all of these random scenes that we haven't edited into the movie yet with the finished VFX? Should we put that in?" No, just throw that over the credits. It doesn't matter.
That'll be the sequel bait.
Confusing. And then
next time on Shaolin versus Evil Dead.
And then yet another producer was all like, I'm looking at the runtime here, and we're like short a minute of the musical score. Should we just like? It's like, why are we still here? Get it out the door. Get it out. And he's all like, it won't take. Give me like 24 hours. I'll take like a piece of the score from earlier in the thing. I'll loop it around so there's not just like a minute of dead silence at the very end. And the producer was all like, did I stutter? Get the fuck out of here. Get the movie out. Get the movie out.
What Kaz is describing is essentially the exclamation point on an extremely insane movie.
It was crazy. And to help us talk about this crazy movie, he had the permission to speak, but he's very politely been sitting and waiting for his introduction, like all good podcast guests. But he's back. He's an actor and improviser. If you're in Vancouver, you can catch him weekly in the live improvised soap opera Sin Peaks at the Havana Theater. It's Bradley Duffy. Hi, buddy.
Hey, yeah, and I'm doing the part of the main stage cast at the Improv Center right now.
Go.
So come on and see that at the Improv Center. I'm not a person to interrupt. I don't know. Just that's not going to serve me well. But what a delight this movie was. I am so glad that you showed me to, because it really is a mix of brilliant kung fu. Some of the best kung fu.
Yeah.
With a terrible movie. And I can think of there's so many great examples of this with wonderful gold surrounded by shit. Like The Prophecy 2, that comes to mind. Christopher Walken's performance surrounded by the rest of the movie. And it still works.
I gotta say, there's so much fun to be had in something like this because, as you say, the kung fu is amazing. The plot is absolutely bonkers. And I'm gonna...
All of them are.
And
all of the plots are bonkers.
Yeah. And what I'm just gonna say it. I love the practical effects in this movie. I love all the zombie effects. I love the Sam Raimi-esque camera trickery.
Oh yeah,
this is a fun fucking watch.
I'll never be able to watch movies horizontally again. Never again will I see a movie that has a straight 90-degree curve.
Not even in movie theaters. You're going to get in there and you're just immediately going to turn your head sideways.
Yeah.
So how was the movie? Great, I think.
I don't remember it. It's kind of a fever dream now. So do we want to talk about the star of this movie? Because I did do some research on the main guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Egg, yes.
Yeah, yes. Egg child. Yes, the star of this movie, the gross egg boy.
Certainly the one I remember the most.
Gross, slimy, actually naked egg boy covered in a combination of shaving cream and hand soap. Yeah, no, I have nothing but pages of notes to talk about Egg Boy, but we'll have to get there. No, I think what Jameson is alluding to is an Eggman of a different sort. Another fabulously bald actor.
Yeah, the bald one, as he's called. Is
he?
Yeah, that's one of his nicknames.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's on the nose.
Yeah.
I'll give him that.
The star of this movie is actor, stunt coordinator, and director Gordon Liu.
Yeah, in a whole country where there's probably a lot of bald people, to be called the bald one is actually pretty impressive. Like, you get to be the version. That's like if I was like, oh yeah, you're the one with the hair. That would just that would be quite the compliment, right?
Yeah, that's how we're described to people. Oh yeah, Nothing Movies is hosted by two guys. There is a beard guy and a guy with hair.
Yeah, I'm the Canadian bald one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm the event. If Gordon Liu ever comes to,
we could tell you two apart.
We'll probably have to fight, and I have a feeling I actually might win because I've done a little research on Gordon Liu, and I'm just gonna make this statement right now. Currently, right now, Gordon Liu, 74 years old, could probably take him, which paints me in a bad light because
it paints you in a terrible light.
Are you sure?
He's had a rough couple of years.
He's had a bit of a downward
He's not doing
turn.
great.
Oh yeah,
currently right now.
Yeah, he's kind of on the rocks these days.
So if you're listening,
Gordon Liu,
we're rooting for you,
and we know you are.
So I'll just briefly break down this guy here, and I don't want to go through his entire filmography because he's been working since the 70s, and the way that Hong Kong action movie stars work is that they will put out at minimum 5 movies a year, and the way that they're all kind of spliced spliced together is like they can kind of be interchangeable. The word you hear a lot of in these kinds of movies is this movie is a derivative of this other movie. So they do that so they can edit these together and just crank these action movies out.
Yeah, and what Wikipedia was saying is that this movie, Shaolin vs. Evil Dead, is derivative of another movie, which we've talked about on the podcast before, Mr. Vampire, directed by Sammo Hung, who we talked about when we were covering Kung Fu Chefs.
Yes, exactly.
Which is another great movie, Brad.
Have you guys reviewed Mr. Vampire yet?
We have not, but we did review a movie that had Sammo Hung in it, and he's also a well-known martial artist actor
who is also in Kill Bill, I believe.
I think so.
Yeah.
So
there's rules for vampires, is what I'm getting from this, that were probably established in Mr. Vampire, but the vampires hop.
Yes. So
that's the rule for vampires, right?
In China, there is a folk legend for all like the reanimated corpses, a type of zombie or vampire called Jiangxi, and they hop.
And they have their arms out. And they try to give that a bit of an explanation this time, yeah.
I believe it's the first line of dialogue in the movie as we're watching this, and like I was definitely thinking like what's going on here, and then the first line of dialogue is them explaining exactly what's going on.
Yeah. The first two lines, in fact. Hey, master, why did they do this? And then cut to the other side character. Yes, master, why did they do this?
Please explain it to all of us in your flawless English.
They sound like they're talking down to us. Not like the English
the North American idiots that are watching this.
That was how they were directed.
Yeah.
It's all like no one's going to understand this shit. So talk to the audience like you would a child. Yes, but the Zheng Qi,
I believe so. We're going to be butchering a lot of this.
We're not going to be able to say this thing. But
apologies.
They hop, they keep their arms out. It's somewhat of a cross between a vampire and a zombie. It's just like your general undead soul, but they have that traditional ceremonial garb. I don't know if you've ever played the Capcom Darkstalkers fighting games,
but
or
I've seen this sort of.
Yeah, there's a character in that who's a zombie character. I think different iterations of them can sometimes stretch their limbs, which we've seen. But we've seen this type of monster before when we covered Fantasy Mission Force. There was a section where they had to fight a whole bunch of them here.
Yeah, so it is like it's a staple of like the horror kung fu genre that these monsters would be appearing and they would be a physical threat to our main guys.
Right, and they sort of are in this.
I want to know where they got these guys. Like
the actors?
But like there's a backstory here that is untold.
Very true.
This guy is leading a group of hopping vampires.
This is how we start.
And he's leading them for some time.
Yeah.
He's chanting this "Follow me to the morning," whatever it is. He's chanting this for a good portion of the film, and he's leading
the night
these
is
hopping
dark, the road is long. Come on, dead men, return to your homes.
There it is.
Yeah.
He says that
ad nauseum.
The night is dark, the road is long. Come on now, dead men, return to your homes. The night is dark, the road is long. Come on, dead men, return to your homes.
He says that like roughly 50 times, and almost every time he starts off, the night is dark, but when he gets to the road is long, every time in my head I start going, with many a winding turn. Couldn't help it.
Yeah. So, but like the reason that it's kind of jumped into just that premise alone is because this movie is a derivative of that movie, Mr. Vampire, which is about a Taoist priest who performs magic to maintain control over spirits and demons along with his two inept students. Now, is that not exactly the premise of this movie?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
these students, like, why is he keeping them around? They call him master, right?
I believe they're his apprentices.
Really, though?
But there's also a lot of unofficial, like, ceremonial titles and everything. Like, there's another character that we're led to believe is Gordon Liu's brother, and then we found out, closer to the end of the movie, we find out that's more of just, like, an honorary title. They're not, like, actually, like, together by blood. So,
Moon calls him uncle as
Yeah.
well. So
Oh, God.
They're calling them master, they're calling them uncle, they're calling them brother. I don't think anyone's actually related. It's hard to tell.
I don't think so. I think it's more of just like they come from the same temple, so it's a brotherhood thing.
Yeah,
so
they
like
train
everyone
together.
is like
A brotherhood of monks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you guys want me to go into the
let's talk about Gordon Liu. As you were saying, it would be foolhardy of us to go into Gordon Liu's entire career because it is quite long, but also what we normally do when we talk about filmographies is we go through the things and we kind of focus on the movies in the filmography that of the famous actor that no one has really heard of before the nothing movies, if you will. In the case of, Gordon Liu, he's a foreign actor, so every film that Gordon Liu has done, we don't know them because it's just not our type of cinema. We don't watch this type all the time, so it's
I'm just going to point out like some notable ones.
Of course.
Yeah. All right. So Gordon Liu, born Sinkamhai in 1951 in Guangdong province of China, he was adopted as a child and was the godson of Lao Cham, who ran a martial arts school. In his youth, he would skip school to train at Lao Cham School, mastering the Hung Gar discipline descended from Wang Fei Hung, a martial artist and folk hero of the subject of numerous films and television series, and the father of two acclaimed filmmakers, Lar Kar Leung and Lau Kar Wing. The two brothers were two of the most acclaimed directors working in Hong Kong at the Shaw Brothers studio, which is pretty much synonymous with there would be no kung fu genre without that studio, and they were just like notorious for cranking these movies out. And it didn't take long for those two brothers to notice Gordon Liu. He had small roles starting in 1973, but by his fifth movie, he landed his first starring role in Challenge of the Masters, a film directed by one of those two brothers, where he played their father, the guy who came up with like this martial arts discipline.
Oh, so but like a younger version of his father, not because I was about to say is all like he was already playing like old wizened masters in like the very first. He was just born old.
That's right.
He was born bald, born as like an old kung fu master.
That's quite a compliment when a couple directors cast you to play their father because they're really trusting you, depending on the relationship.
And he also knew their father, so he knew the character. He could get into the character that easily.
And it's very easy to imagine that like brothers probably got a lot of their like pent up aggression against their dad like out in the system, like playing like a real asshole. But no, they knew that he had talent, and he knew that he knew the guy. So he was like, "No, you're gonna do our father justice."
Already, the things that you're telling me about Gordon Liu's life, like there are two different stories here that could make fascinating movies on their own. Just like the story of like his upbringing and becoming like a martial arts actor in his own right, and just the amount of people that he had to fight to get the title of the bald one. That's the movie that I want to see.
Anybody can shave their head.
Him just like taking out like an entire army of bald.
In 1978, he directed his first film, Breakout from Oppression, but more importantly, he started as Santi in the 36th Chamber of Shaolin, which was the first in a trilogy, and he's like reprised that role like 3 times. It's probably like one of the most well-known series that he's done in Hong Kong. It was a zero to hero story that rocketed him to superstardom.
And it inspired a little band called the Wu-Tang Clan.
I'm getting to that, and you're wrong.
Oh, all right, fair enough. I was just making a joke. We make those sometimes here on the podcast.
Yes, of course.
But it sounds like it was not that far off from
okay. I mean, okay, this is a stupid, speaking of stupid jokes, in 1979, he starred in 3 movies, one of which was a martial arts comedy called Dirty Ho, which of course means something different over there.
Sure.
It's about a prince who enlists a jewelry thief who is Dirty Ho to help him find out who is trying to assassinate him. I just wanted to say Dirty Ho.
Right. It means something different in its original language. It actually translates to filthy slut.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, in 1983, he was in 3 movies, most notably Shaolin and Wu-Tang, which he directed. And yes, that is the movie that inspired RZA, an old dirty bastard, to come up with the band name Wu-Tang Clan.
All right, fair enough. I'm just saying because there is a song on their first album that says "Enter the 36 Chambers."
Because they are massive fans of the guy.
Right, so they've seen all of Gordon Liu's movies, and that fandom will come around in a way. But I'm sure you're getting to that, and I'm not going to spoil that for the listeners. So please continue.
Maybe it's the same.
Maybe we're on the same page.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
I'm just happy that Jameson is giving me a break for once and running down all of this stuff. I've done no research on this. I just I rolled into the studio half an hour after I had watched this movie.
Hey, I mean, you thought you were coming under the gun. Brad just finished the movie in the elevator.
Brad finished the movie in the lobby. Yeah, that's funny.
Oh man, I was working late today last night.
And you were reeling like in the hallway. You were like, "What?"
Yeah. Well, we'll save that.
Yeah. All right. So in 1988, busy year for him. He had 6 movies. One that I want to talk about is Shaolin vs. Vampire, which he also directed. The plot is Gordon Liu must use his skills to protect some baby vampires in Hong Kong. He plays, is also...
That doesn't sound versus at all.
No.
That sounds like Shaolin helping vampire.
Which is what his character does in this movie.
It is called a versus movie, but he just seems generally to be a pretty helpful guy
who like goes to bat for the monsters. You go into this thinking that this is like a monster hunter type of movie, but no, he's guiding the spirits back to the afterlife.
To an extent.
To an extent, yes.
I mean, like, you know, like Clint Eastwood made basically the same Western 10 times, you know, so this isn't that unnatural for him to be doing kind of like the same thing with the same premise over and over again.
Yeah. I think that's like a good analog because, you know, Clint Eastwood is like so well known for being in Westerns.
Right.
And I think that's what the producers of this movie thought, that Gordon Liu has played a lot of priests, a lot of martial artists, and he's also played a guy who helps out the monsters. Let's combine these elements together.
And hey, there's another precedent, a more obvious one that we're not even thinking of. The Evil Dead.
Yeah.
The Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 are basically the exact same movie. They more or less just re-released Evil Dead 1, but they made it better. More funny, more gags, more blood, more gore, more everything. But yes, fundamentally, you watch them back to back. Yeah, it's the exact same plot, really.
So in 2003 and 2004, he was in Kill Bill 1 and 2.
Which is where I have a feeling, if you've heard of him, you've heard of him because of those movies, because of those roles.
Yeah. Tarantino is a massive fan of the guy, and he decided he was going to cast him in a different role in each of those movies. In Kill Bill 1, he is the leader of the Crazy 88 gang. What's his name again? Mr. Mo, I believe?
Mr. 88.
Sure, Mr. 88. And he plays Pai Mei in Kill Bill 2, a role that Tarantino was originally going to play himself.
That is a good casting change.
Yes!
I'm just going to go ahead and say, well done.
And, you know, good thing, too, because, like, Tarantino apparently deferred to a lot of Gordon Liu's expertise in the combat sequences. So, good guy to have around on set.
And he made this movie in between the two Kill Bill movies. Or at the very least, it was released in between the two.
It came out the same year as Volume 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
His ability to pick up choreo, like fight choreo, just must be through the roof because there is a lot of fight choreo going on here.
Oh, yeah. And, like, I think that he just never switches that off because, like I was saying, up to 5 movies or more a year, and most of them are martial arts movies. So, like, it's always just something that's like, in the back of his mind. It's like breathing to him, I imagine. So throughout the 2000s, he had a lot of movies come out. He was in one Bollywood movie where he played the bad guy. He was in a wedding comedy.
I was just about to say, he's the Ray Stevenson of his time.
Oh.
That's a joke. If anyone hasn't seen RRR on Netflix yet, and you have a spare 3 hours to kill, check that out. That is the movie of the year.
Yeah.
Just an insanely long movie, but oh god, it's fucking incredible. And Ray Stevenson is the bad guy in that, and he's fucking awesome.
Oh, okay, now it's starting.
Now it's clicking in. Yeah.
All right, now now his life kind of takes a bit of a downward turn. So he was working like pretty steadily for decades up until about 2011, while performing with his band. Oh, did I forget to mention that he has a band? Yeah, so did the Wikipedia article. So while he was performing with his
no more details. What is his band? What kind of music do they play?
I don't know, polka.
What are they called?
I don't know. It never went into detail about this.
I'm looking this up while you're talking about the history.
So while he was performing with his band, he had a stroke and fell down and hit his head. He had right side paralysis and a speech impediment as a result, and needed a wheelchair, which he is still in to this day.
Which is why I could probably take him in a fight.
And why you're a horrible person for saying that.
But we knew that. This is old business.
Mm-hmm. At this time, his estranged family from a second marriage had begun pressuring him for more money. Pressed at his state of his physical form and his family complications, he isolated himself in a nursing home, divorced his wife to focus on his recovery. During this medical crisis, he entrusted his assets to a spokesperson named Ava Fung, but they had a falling out, and she refused to return his assets. A day before the court date, Ava agreed to return the funds with interest. So kind of a happy ending there, but as of 2015, he no longer has a speech impediment, but he still uses the wheelchair, and he resides in a nursing home.
And he should enjoy his retirement or come back into do acting if he chooses, but he's done. Are we not done? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Is there more?
So while
Jesus Christ.
While he was confined in a wheelchair, 2012 was his busiest year, appearing in 7 films.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Were they all sitting down?
They'd have to be. Blood Money, Kill 'Em All, No Regret, Nightfall, Warrior, Painted Skin, Resurrection, but most notably, The Man with the Iron Fists as the Abbot.
Yes.
Directed by RZA, written by Eli Roth, and starring Russell Crowe, Lucy Liu, and Dave Bautista.
So RZA finally got his inspiration into his directorial debut.
Which I'm sure was a thrill for him and a chore for Gordon Liu.
I've seen that movie. I don't remember Gordon Liu in it. I have to imagine if he's playing like an ambassador or whatever like that, he's probably got like a gold throne or something like that. They've decked him out in. That's how bittersweet you get Gordon Liu to star in your your kung fu movie after admiring him for years and sort of like styling your rap group after him, but you get him at a point where the poor guy just can't move anymore.
The best years are behind him. Yeah. It's tragic.
Well, hopefully people who work with him stop Stan Lee-ing him and leave his estate alone. I'm glad he's doing well. Gordon, we're all just joking here. I'm not gonna attack you.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if I do, you'll never see it coming, but I'm not gonna like start a fight with you, you know, and anything. It sounds like too many other people already have claim to your money, so there's nothing that would benefit me.
He's got a lot to deal with. He doesn't need some bald jackass from Canada going.
But then I'll be the bald one. Yeah.
Next day's headline: Bald one kills bald one.
The bald one is dead.
Bald one versus bald one.
Oh, is anything coming up with Gordon Liu band?
His band
here.
Rock band is
the Lulus.
Power pop, power punk.
Gordo and the Jean Cheese. That's what he's called. Anyway, I don't know. We'll come to that. Is it time for a pee break?
I think so. Yeah.
All right, great.
Cool.
We'll take a little break and we'll spotlight our charity spot here. And when we come back, we'll dive right into Shaolin versus Evil Dead.
Yes.
Our first Halloween. What are we calling this Halloween series? We used to call it The Fright Is This. What are we calling the Nothing movies equivalent? Nothing boovies? Nothing spookies?
Nothing I was gonna one of those two.
One of those two.
One of those two, Jameson. Those are both great. Those are both amazing.
I fucking call myself a writer.
Nothing
Jesus.
spooky? I kind of like that.
No, the best ideas come during a bathroom break.
All right.
So we'll think of some when
I'll come back from the washing with a real banger.
I'm fairly certain it's nothing spooky.
All right. You'll find it.
A recent landmark study suggests that by the year 2050, nearly 2 million people living across Canada could be living with dementia or some form of Alzheimer's disease, with diagnosis for women disproportionately outnumbering men. The impact of this on Canada's healthcare system will be huge, to say nothing about how that will affect the lives of the loved ones caring for the family members afflicted with the disease. Alzheimer's is infinitely complex, with patients requiring customized care from family doctors and nurse practitioners who are primarily responsible for diagnosing and providing the treatment for persons with dementia. However, if projections from the study are correct, the demand for primary care services will grow as fewer medical students are choosing family medicine as a career. Within the offices and clinics of primary care providers, patients with dementia will require a disproportionate share of their time, and provinces and territories will need to incentivize family doctors and nurse practitioners to provide customized care, a tall order given the current climate of the medical field in Canada. So for today's charity spot, I would like to give attention to the Alzheimer Society of Canada. Since 1978, the Alzheimer Society of Canada has been the leading nationwide health charity supporting people living with all forms of dementia and Alzheimer's disease, as well as their caregivers and their families. Active in communities across Canada, the Society offers programs and support services, fundraisers to advance research, advocates for policy change, and increases public awareness. They seek to improve the quality of life of Canadians who are experiencing this terrible disease firsthand, including the discovery of new treatments and even a cure for dementia. To donate to the Alzheimer Society of Canada, or if you would just like to seek out Alzheimer resources and information, please visit their website at alzheimer.ca. Once again, that's alzheimer.ca.
Yeah, no, I've always said to myself that if I ever got married, I'm going to elope to Vegas and get married by Elvis. So
you saw the new Baz Luhrmann Elvis then.
You can get married
I have some thoughts. We can talk off mic about Baz Luhrmann's Elvis. Here's my short review. Not crazy enough. From the guy who made Moulin Rouge, a little too boilerplate of a biopic for me. I needed it to be a little more nuts.
Yeah, it had the color palette of Moulin Rouge without the insanity.
Yeah. Did they ever address Elvis's love of karate in that movie?
Not enough. I'll just tell you right now, not nearly enough.
There's nothing funnier to me than just see like old footage from like the 70s of Elvis like doing karate.
Yeah. Karate, judo chop, karate. Yeah. No, there were a lot of things I didn't care for about the Elvis movie. Like I kind of felt like there was this overall tone when all was said and done, where the movie was kind of trying to have the opinion of all. But what about all of the good things Elvis did for black people? And I'm just kind of like, all right, this is a sensitive subject, and I don't think this is the nuanced movie to probably take it up. But I'm just at a point right now where I want all of my musical biopics to mostly be about what a piece of shit the artists were in this movie. Kind of loved Elvis a little too much for my.
I'm not really surprised. He's like deified in the States. There's no way.
Yeah, he shouldn't be though.
Absolutely,
not a great guy.
No.
Not a good dude.
So Shaolin versus Evil
Dead. We're back.
It is directed by Douglas Kung. Directed a couple of movies. Director, stunt coordinator. He directed a movie called Snake Charmer, Dragon Hero, Undiscovered Tomb, before moving on to something like this. But the movie was produced by the My Way Film Company, which back in the day produced many female-themed action movies, and notably in 1991 directed the very first live-action Dragon Ball movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Dragon Ball: The Magic Begins. These are the guys.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I of course know that there are live-action anime films within the... I was about to say, because that's like Japan, so that's like a completely different film.
I think they just got the license for it.
They just got the license for it. Yeah, okay, cool, yeah. But I didn't know that there were live-action Dragon Ball movies, of course, with the exception of the
terrible one with...
the abysmal Hollywood Dragon Ball movie, but that's wild.
Yeah. So, that's all I gotta say. Those are all my notes.
All right, there we go. Yeah, great. Let's dive right into it. Yeah, dive into
the
meat of things, yes.
Appreciate that you guys have got notes for this.
Yeah, so jump into the meats. Jump into the maggots.
So many plots.
Yes.
So many plots. So this is going to be very... I'm glad you've got notes.
Yeah.
The maggots. So yeah, we start
this movie ends in the middle of a scene, and it also begins in the middle of a scene.
That's right.
With no setup or explanation as to what is going on.
So the vampires.
Gordon Liu plays Pac, otherwise known as Brother White, who is a Shaolin priest who has recently captured a bunch of Jiangshi and is leading them back to their graves for a peaceful slumber. And he's accompanied by his two young assistants, the teenage Sun and the young boy Fire.
Yeah, and a lot of these names I had to really listen to the dubbing to pick up a lot of them too, because on both Wikipedia and IMDb, there is a noticeable lack of actor credits and or character names. There's really none. Like I was looking at...
They don't say them in the movie often either.
No.
They say them, but you really have to listen to what they're saying. Like it took me about like halfway throughout the movie before I realized the little kid's name was Fire, because it's just like, oh, I'm sure that's like a like a Chinese or a Mandarin name that I'm not getting here.
Could be his temple name, like during his training they all get names. Like,
sure, yeah.
Stephen, your name now is
okay.
Yeah.
Like
his name should have been annoying shit.
Yeah. Well, nobody has like an actual name in this. I mean, like Sun. This is jumping way ahead, but there's like a romance between Sun and a woman, and of course, the woman's name is eventually revealed to be Moon. Which I should just go like, all right, okay,
their love can never be.
And I'm not even like 100% certain that these are the actual character names. This is just what the dubbing has decided that these characters' names are. But these are two very annoying side characters, they're in all of this. They're in this entire movie, and they never go away.
They're Shaolin priests in training, so like they just have to shadow this guy along who just seems to be annoyed having to look after these two idiots. The teenager guy is a little bit better than the kid, but they both suck.
Yeah, there's very little training that goes on. At one point, I finally did see that they had done some training. When they're putting the vampires back in the graves, they have to go through a ceremony, and you're like, okay, they've actually studied some. But otherwise, they're completely useless in terms of...
I wrote down here, exorcisms seem to require a lot more backflips than I originally thought.
Ceremonies,
It seems very integral to the whole process of putting souls to rest, is being able to do sweet backflips.
When Master Black is pulling his old sham on the villagers, he just goes through a series of backflips before...
That was why the exorcism in The Exorcist didn't work out until Jason Miller did all those backflips down the stairs at the very bottom, and then the demon went away.
It tracks.
So they got the wrong idea in Catholicism.
But what I really liked about that is the idea that like these moves that you have to do to perform these exorcisms or these rituals or whatever, they have to be perfect or precise. Otherwise, that magic that you're trying to do will execute, but it will execute poorly.
Like the kid, right?
You can fuck it up. And I kind of like that about magic. You know, magic is like too often just being like this perfect thing that happens and like it executes exactly what you want it to do. But I like it when magic kind of backfires it executes, but you fucked it up, so it's not executing the way you want it. That's how fucking everything in life works. That's how, like, if you don't tune up your car engine, your motor's gonna fuck up.
And
that's how, if you code wrong, your program's gonna fuck up. You gotta run it again.
The discipline in this, though, is a little different than those industries.
Yeah.
Because in this, when the kid isn't doing the ceremony properly, he has a literal firecracker shoved up his ass. Like, maybe that is what other industries need. I don't know.
He just needed someone to light a fire under his ass.
Literally. So these guys are parading the Jiangxi through town, and they decide to stop
from somewhere,
and they stop in to have like a midnight snack at an all-night restaurant.
I guess they just left the horde of zombies just in the parking lot. They just, they found like an empty space.
They found a stirrup and they just
tied them to a tree, and they're all just gonna. I guess they'll just wait.
Yeah, and I want to point out that they are jumping pretty vigorously with these seals pasted to their foreheads that do not come off. For later.
Well, if they come off, then like the priests lose their control over the.
Well, yes,
right.
Just want to point out that the seals do not come off from all this jumping. For later.
Yeah. Well, let's maybe jump ahead. No pun, I guess, I was going to say pun not intended, but the way that I phrased that, pun definitely intended. There are scenes later on of the zombies, which is what I'm going to call them, because I can't pronounce the actual thing that they are. But yeah, there's a scene like after this restaurant scene where they're hopping around and Gordon Liu is doing his thing and whatever. And did you notice that there's like a zombie in like the front of the line, and this voodoo paper, which is what they called it, like that is like attached to their foreheads, which I'm guessing is integral to keeping your control over the zombies and getting them to do what you want.
Seal, right?
Yeah, it's a seal. The zombie in the front of the line, it just falls off of his head, and they kept it in the movie.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's like a breathing thing, and they're hopping around, and then they'll cut away, and then they'll cut back to the line of zombies, and now all of them don't have the voodoo paper on their head, and then it cuts back, and now they got it on their head again. So I'm just saying, someone wasn't the continuity wasn't paid a terrible amount of attention to on this movie, because
those guys had like fucking 6 other movies to shoot that day.
Sure.
All right. Yeah. So they're in the restaurant.
Yeah, and we get the
delicious food.
We get a great opening action sequence, I'm gonna say, because they look around the restaurant and they're eating the delicious food, but Brother White suspects something. Something doesn't hold up because he sees like a maggot fall on him. He does like this awesome monster viewer spell.
Yeah, show me what is hidden. That sort of thing.
And
so his 2 apprentices are eating noodles.
Yeah, and that's important.
They're actually eating
vigorously eating noodles.
And they're eating bowls of maggots. And I just want to say, I watched this movie while I was eating a bowl of delicious Fiber One cereal, which is a tasty cereal, but is somewhat maggot adjacent in the way that is. So I did have to pause the movie and finish that very quickly before I could go on, because it just wasn't working out very well. But
this is a haunted house, it turns out.
It's a haunted house, and but yeah, like as you say, maggots drop from above onto Master what's his name?
Brother
White's shoulder, and we see these apprentices eating the noodles, and the noodles are the maggots. So are we led to believe that in the fake reality or whatever, someone just dropped a handful of noodles on Master White's shoulders?
Well, they were always maggots, is the thing.
But if the apprentices were to look up at that moment, would they just see a handful of noodles on his shoulder?
On the ceiling?
Or would they see nothing?
Maybe the illusion was confined to the dish itself and to the people.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sense of these illusions, because there's a lot of them, and I don't think the rules necessarily make a lot of sense.
So you've all figured it out by now. This restaurant is actually filled with zombies disguised as people and running a successful restaurant.
I want to see that movie.
Yeah. They have a business.
Zombie Bistro. I want to see that.
People come in, they sit down, and they are served by a waiter.
Yeah.
They order food.
Very quickly. Great service in this zombie restaurant.
Right.
They get their food like immediately.
Their order is taken. The guy goes back, goes to the kitchen, I presume. He's like, hey, we got chili maggots and pork maggots.
And pork maggots. Yeah, exactly.
To order up.
God, I went to a Chinese restaurant and I'm pretty sure I had some pork maggots.
All right, that's
it wasn't great.
Chinese food is
delicious.
Is fine.
Delicious.
Yeah,
so
they order it.
It
comes.
A rush happens, and then like the place just gets swarmed with zombies.
A dinner rush, you mean?
A dinner rush.
Yeah. Oh my God! Maybe that's what's happening, because the walls are caving in with zombies. Endless. This is a long fight scene with zombies continuously pouring in.
I loved it. Like, every time you thought, like, okay, these guys they seem to be holding their own against these zombies, all of a sudden, like, 30 more zombies show up. And this when they're, like, holding their own against that, 30 more zombies bust down a wall. It's kind of awesome.
Crashing through the walls like Kool-Aid Man. It's great. Yeah, it's fantastic. They're just, like, destroying the structure of this restaurant, but it's still staying standing.
Yeah.
And it's just nonstop. And, like, there are the Zhang-Chi, which are in, like, the ceremonial costume of the Zhang-Chi. If you look it up, it's a hat, it's a flowing robe, and everything like that. These are just zombos. These are just the rotting flesh. Sometimes it's like an obvious, like, latex mask. Other times it's just a handful of makeup and then, like, live maggots on, like, an actor's face.
Yeah, someone just took their hand in maggots and glue and just like,
yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. You're
and they're
a zombie
just
now.
Squirming around. Yeah, there's no consistency between what these zombies look like.
And it's kind of awesome.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah, they're all fighting.
Yeah,
they're all fighting.
Like almost all seems lost. Like they're using all their practical magic. Like he's like, here,
but we
fire, get over here. I need virgin's piss to fight these guys.
Oh fuck!
I mean, this is the reason why he keeps these two around, right? Because apparently virgin's piss, as I stated earlier in the show, this is a big deal. This is why you need. I guess it's
part of an enchantment. I need virgin's piss to like put this voodoo paper on to make this AOE effect that helps out a bit, but it's still not enough to against this zombie horde.
But we see that they are basically Ghostbusters at this point, right? That they take the ghosts out of, or the spirits out of these zombies and trap them in little eggs.
That's right.
And into spirit eggs, which we've talked about spin-offs of this movie quite a bit here. I want to see a spin-off that's just called Spirit Eggs. Maybe they could serve it at the zombie restaurant. There we go.
So like they're trying to capture as many souls as they can.
Derivative of Spirited Away.
Yeah.
Spirit Eggs.
One is spirited away right into the little kid's stomach because like he catches it, and one of the zombies just like happens to like stuff this egg down the kid's gullet, which will be very important later.
And this movie does, I mean, like, they're taking the title of Evil Dead to try and, like, gain interest for, Western audiences. This movie really has nothing to do with Sam Raimi's world of the Evil Dead and the way that he created. I mean, there's little allusions to it. But I will say, this movie manages to do something that none of the Evil Dead movies have done. Someone literally swallows a soul in like the first 15 minutes of this movie. Evil Dead, they only talk about swallowing soul. We never actually see the soul go down.
Right, yeah.
But in the 15 minutes, he actually does. His soul goes down. So is this the best Evil Dead movie? I'm going to say yes.
And it's that one it's the one zombie the kid swallows, right?
Yeah.
It's because there's a little kid zombie that's different than the other zombies for some reason.
Yeah.
It's like, shh, don't tell people I'm here, which is an insane thing for a zombie to ask someone during a fight.
And then when this zombie spirit, soul, whatever, is inside of fire, they're like having full-on conversations with like, I gotta get out of here. I want to escape or whatever. But then we'll get to this eventually. When the spirit is literally pooped out of fire, he becomes like an infant. He's like born again. All he can say is "mama" over and over again.
He was the same age as the child zombie.
Gotta be
the
same actor.
But he had agency before that. When he was just in his tum-tum, he was saying like full sentences, but then after he got pooped out, he becomes like an infant. He becomes like, so what's the deal with that?
Being digested. Maybe he had his entire intelligence digested from being swallowed.
Something lost in the outhouse when the kid crept.
So the bad guys busted.
Yeah.
Not the bad guys, the good bad guys.
So I
mean,
like
they're pretty bad.
When all seems lost, they are saved by the arrival of Black Wizard and Moon, which is a great fucking band name.
Black Wizard and Moon.
Yeah. And they are also
with an opening act by Soul Eggs.
Exactly.
But they're still fighting. They're still fighting the
undead.
But
because Black Wizard is he's from the same Shaolin schooling as Brother White, but he's kind of on a darker path, so he's way more aggressive. Brother White's whole deal is he wants to like return these lost souls to a peaceful afterlife.
Reincarnation.
Reincarnation, yeah. And Black Wizard just wants to straight up kill all these monsters.
Yeah,
send them to hell.
destroy the souls.
And we know Black Wizard is evil because his soul eggs are black.
And
he's got black eggs.
And he dresses in all black, and he's got like a gnarly hairdo, and Brother White is bald, so like they couldn't be more opposite from each other.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, the more hair, the eviler you are.
It's true.
Why do you think I rock this look?
Nice.
Yeah,
you're a good man.
because I'm just pure and yeah, nothing wrong about me. And I totally didn't threaten to push over a 74-year-old wheelchair-bound action kung fu star earlier in this episode, and I don't keep bringing it up.
Yeah.
But the
I don't
way
know what
they dispose of these souls is very different. So they got their eggs, and the good guys bury their eggs and do a ceremony. And the bad guys...
And then those eggs become butterflies, I guess.
And the bad guys just he basically fries the souls.
Yeah.
He puts them in a little fry pan sort of thing, and it's...
It's such a long... This whole process of burying this horde of Shang-Chi that he has goes on for so long. Like, after this restaurant thing, he has them hop over to, like, an empty field that has, I guess, like, a ceremonial... I don't know, it looked like an ashtray or whatever, but he, like, buries, like, a bunch of these soul eggs. They do, like, a chant or whatever, and, like, the butterfly spirits come out of the eggs, and then they fly away. But then he still has to lead the Shang-Chi to a different location. So I guess, like, I guess he had removed their souls, or these were the souls of the evil dead that they had just fought.
In the restaurant?
So these are different souls.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know. But how do you can you turn an Evil Dead zombie into a Shang-Chi zombie? Do you just give him, like, a fancy suit of clothing and then instruct him to hop with his arms out so he doesn't reach into people?
Well, they're vampires. I think, like, they're vampires and the other ones are zombies.
Yeah,
they're different kinds of undead.
They're different types of monster, and it takes different methods to dispatch of these monsters, which I think tracks across all kinds of monster mythology.
Fair enough.
Sure. Dungeons and Dragons, vampires have different weaknesses.
Yeah,
than
like
zombies,
silver bullets for werewolves, cross and holy water for vampires.
I guess they just look similar enough in this that we're kind of like lumping them all in the same.
And they
group.
do, yes. And I am ignorant of this tradition of these type of monsters, so I don't know what the rules are. I'm just going by what this movie has told me. How you get rid of them.
And honestly, it's all cool to see.
And the way apparently you get rid of a Shang-Chi is you lead them to a big empty room with big empty stone coffins, and then you make them backflip into the coffin. And if you're not very good at it, like fire,
try again, asshole.
They do backflips and then they just whack their fucking head against like the side of the thing, and it looks gnarly. And they just get up and they just try it again.
I mean, I remember that from my early days of going to like karate class as a kid. You know,
that was one of the first lessons.
They try again, asshole.
Break this board with your foot.
Again.
All right, now backflip this zombie into a concrete case. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and they make the kid do this several times.
Yeah,
this is a long sequence.
Well, he can't do it because he's been like possessed because he ate some bad eggs.
I guess they're implying that he sucks at this because he's ingested a spirit egg at this point.
But also he's the worst.
Yeah. So Black, we're back at the back of the restaurant. We're back
in Black.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he shows up. We're introduced to the bad guy, and they don't like each other.
Right.
They're both still fighting zombies. But they're fighting.
They have different methods. These guys. Yeah. And so like they're on their way back to, or they're going to that ceremonial place to dispatch these guys, and on their way they run across a little person zombie who is.
This is the second movie we've made you watch on this show, Brad, that features a little person in a prominent rubber mask. So
it's your stick.
Yeah, it's the thing we have to every movie I guess we cover with you has to feature that.
Now this guy, what a go-getter! Like at first he's kind of like, oh, I can't let this happen, so he screws them up. He fucks them up by releasing a bunch of undead on them to fight them.
He knocks by accident because he knocks them over like a bunch of dominoes.
And then we see that these zombies that have been hopping vigorously for miles, that if they are knocked over gently, the paper falls off.
Yeah, and then like all hell breaks loose with these guys.
And
we get another fucking fight scene
immediately. Another fight scene.
So much of what these I guess ghost hunters are doing, it just seems like very paper based because they need this paper. They need to like attach it to the zombie's head to make them, or I guess the vampire's head. Sorry, to make them not do the things that they want. Also, Master White appears to have an endless supply of just like paper that
he's just like tossing around,
just throwing it everywhere.
All the time. Yeah, whenever he's doing his chant,
runs out.
Right?
What a litter bug this guy.
He never runs out. I don't know what the purpose of that is, of just like throwing the additional paper everywhere he goes.
It all makes sense.
It all makes sense. That's all keeping the evil spirits
away. You don't need
away.
to know how it works. He knows how it works.
Here's how it works. Step one, shut up.
He doesn't seem to need the paper to control them either, because earlier on in the first sequence, we see how inept the students are when they knock over a giant pillar that rolls, and then he makes all the zombies or the vampires hop over it really easily without using paper at all.
There's also a moment before we move on from this that I really have to spotlight. What's the other one's name? Sun comes up. It's after they escape from the restaurant, and Sun says like, why are you just using my brother's pee, my little brother's pee? I have the same size penis as he does, and
he makes him check it out.
And he proceeds to show him his tiny little baby dick.
Yeah, why did you just need virgin's piss, Master? I'm a virgin too, and it's like this is not the kind of thing you should be bragging to another man about.
Like the size of his little baby dick.
Master, I don't understand something. Why did you want Fire's piss, but not mine? I'm a virgin too.
Oh yeah?
Besides, we're the same size. Here, take a look.
And then Gordon Liu responds the way any normal, non-insane person would. He says, like, well, chop it off. Hack your dick off.
I think he holds up some scissors that he has been keeping for this occasion.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't...
He finally brought it up.
Let's see how committed you are to being a virgin, kid.
But I guess the scissors does play into the backstory that he has been cutting up paper forever. Right? Like, I guess having scissors does make sense for him.
He's got to make those voodoo.
But he makes a little circumcision joke here that he would gladly cut off this guy.
I'm going to cut off your paper-thin dick. How about that?
Then Sun drops it and it's never brought up again. But it's just like, I did have to write that down because I'm all like, did that just happen?
So a lot of mention of piss. In the first while here.
It seems integral. It seems important to this whole thing.
Because the way they knock over those pillars in the first scene is they have a big conversation about the correct way to piss.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like, no, you need to plant your foot firmly on a pillar up while you piss.
Much
it's a whole scene.
Well, it's like a fable, too. Yeah. It's all like, oh, Master, we really got to pee. Oh, I got to pee, too.
Have I ever told you the tale about why dogs lift one leg up when they piss?
They desperately need to take a piss, and then the little one's all like, why do you keep your leg up? And he just goes like, there's a fable passed down from generations of the dog spirit. And it's just all like, didn't you have to pee like a second ago?
So by the time we're at this scene with Sun asking him about the correct way to, why don't you use my pee? They've mentioned piss an unusual amount.
Yeah.
I would say.
A lot of piss talk.
A fetishistic amount, one might say.
Oh my God. Okay, so this little person,
he's been like cursed or something, so he can't pass on to the afterlife. So he's going to Brother White and say like, please, there's got to be a way to send me to the afterlife or something.
And he has a great voice. The voice actor here for me. Yeah, that's it. That's it there.
Please don't hurt me. I saw what you did back there. You reincarnated their souls. Please reincarnate my soul too. Bury me in a peaceful spot. Set me free. But I don't know how to. I swear I won't hurt anyone. I just want to be reincarnated. I don't know.
just music to my ears.
I love it. I love the Walla in this movie.
Oh my God, the
Walla is amazing.
What a gift for a voice actor to play one of like the town's folk.
Oh my God,
I am drunk right now. Yeah. I am so drunk.
I wanted to save it till we got to this one. Like when they're walking through the town square and they're like, "Get your cabbages here, cabbages! I got cabbages, dumplings for sale. Who needs dumplings?
They
I got them."
Brooklyn accents a little bit.
My favorite guy was the silk merchant who's just like, I got silk, I got amazing silk. Don't look at those cabbages over there. I just got silk. Just don't pay attention to the cabbages.
A town full of carnival barkers. Yeah. It's great.
I got dumplings here. All kinds of dumplings. Any kind of dumplings you want. You go ahead. Take your pick. There you go. Yeah, get your silk here. Never mind those cabbages. Come on. This is the best silk in all China. Made by the hardest working silkworms. Come on.
Yeah, or like they're all chanting when they're chanting for him to kill. Anyway, but the guy, this is supposed to be a relatable, likable undead because who has a hi. You did it better.
Yeah.
What does he sound like?
Oh, Master, I want to go to the afterlife.
Oh yeah, that's the one. Oh, that's it.
Yeah, that's
it right there.
He's just a happy little zombie guy.
Yeah. So he's like, I'll tell you what, I'll capture you in this egg, and we'll decide what the Earth God wants to do with you.
Yeah, they do kind of go by Pokemon rules for a little while here.
Yeah. So this is great. So we see how compassionate Master White is in that he's like,
to anybody who's not an apprentice of his.
Oh yeah. Well, he keeps keeps them around despite their foibles.
Because
he needs
that virgin pee.
Because he's probably been late. I don't know.
And if he loses one of them, he's got the other one right there. So it's just, yeah.
Yeah, if one of them is not hydrated, I guess that's it, right? They drink water in different shifts.
So they're camping out in like this one village. I don't know if it's where they live or whatever, but they're just camping out in this town. The next morning, Sun becomes aware of the monster that lives inside of Fire's belly, and so he's okay. Well, let's go to town and get you some food. And that's where he runs into Moon, and we get a cute little meet cute moment between them.
Well, before that, Fire wakes up, and the spirit inside of him is making him do things, and Sun comes
just
out.
Like bashing his stomach and head against a rock to try to get it out.
He's bashing the lower part of his body against a pillar. And look, when I was that age, I hadn't really figured out masturbation either. So, it's relatable for this particular thing. I was ramming my dick into most surfaces and seeing if anything would happen. So, it's pretty average at that age.
This stone pillar, let's give this a shot. Hard versus hard,
It feels good until it doesn't.
But Master White is somewhat told about this. I think they'd even mentioned to him, like, hey, he swallowed a spirit. Master White quickly dismisses this.
Gonna help him out or anything. You gotta wait for it to pass.
That's kind of his reaction, right?
He doesn't.
As this expert, and he is an expert in all things, he seems to really just kind of like gloss over this particular problem. So they move on, and we get the little meet cute moment at this point.
Yeah, and he's tongue-tied because like he gets
he
speechless
can't
every time she sees him, so she assumes he's a mute. But he's not deterred, even after like just setting up this Rube Goldberg system where like
it's some wacky kung fu. Someone literally falls on top of a dog.
Yeah.
In a way that did not look like it was planned. It looks like it's like, okay, the scene is fall on top of this dog. Is this like a stunt dog? Are we gonna move the dog out of the way? No, just fall on this live actual dog here. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure the dog will be okay.
Yeah.
So there are a bunch of hijinks happen.
Yeah.
And as a result,
it's just like the worst first impression you could ever make on a woman. You guys got like a bunch of tofu falls on the guy. He falls in a river.
But that's how he wins her over. Is he pushes her out of the way of the tofu that he set in motion to fall on her.
That's right.
It's like a tofu pudding.
Yeah.
It's like a sweet tofu pudding, and it comes out. It's like you can't do that on television. He's all covered in all covered in goo.
And this is where we see in her eyes that she is falling for him when he's covered
this bumbling mute that I know.
But him falling off the bridge does not look like a
the physics of it.
Exactly the physics of it. Yeah.
It falls over the railing. Next shot, he has been launched clear of that bridge.
Yeah, and she's enamored.
Yeah.
This is it for her. This is what she's been looking for her whole life.
Well, what seals the deal is he writes a lovely little note to her, and how am I gonna like? We come from two different worlds. She is a Black Wizard's apprentice. I am Brother White's apprentice. It's Romeo and Juliet.
That's what that play was about.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure, wizards.
He writes her a note. To deliver it, he makes a nice little paper crane, and this is a sentient paper crane.
And this is just magic origami at this point. But at this point in time in the movie, I'm just all like, sure.
Yeah.
Why not? Why wouldn't this exist? Why wouldn't this be like a normal everyday thing that everyone does? It's totally fine.
Messenger origami.
We see that Sun, though, has some magic powers here, which I think is nice. Like, he's not just an idiot. He actually has some capabilities.
And this is the extent of what he can do as a beginner magician, one would assume. He's got the origami thing down. He can't really do anything more powerful than that. That's step one, I think, for a lot of people.
So she gets the crane letter, and she's...
Immediately, Master Black is like, what do you got there?
Yeah, I won't stand for it.
Well, he just comes, he's all like, what are you doing? He's all like, I'm fucking sitting at a table. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and
I'm not even doing anything weird or suspicious. I'm just sitting here.
Like, she was doing something weird or suspicious.
But
because,
by the time he came in,
when the crane comes in through the window, she has been sitting stationary at a table for several seconds, staring off into the void. This is what she does with her time down.
And this paper crane flies by, and this must happen all the fucking time, because she's just like, oh. And she reads it, and it's like, oh, meet me by the bridge. And she's like, oh, he's got a way with words, this guy.
The bridge in town. Yes, the one bridge.
I think it might be the calligraphy that she was into, because calligraphy is kind of a thing, and it did look actually like well written.
It's also funny because as he's trying to get her attention earlier in the thing, he's all like, oh, I can't speak, I can't find the words. I know, I'll just write. But he writes the note so quickly, and then the time we look at it, it's all like, no, this is beautiful calligraphy. This took a couple of minutes to do.
Or magic.
It's not a hit. It could just be magic. Yeah. You're right. It could just be magic. You could have maybe just looked at it and then it, like, I'll believe anything at
Whenever
this point.
something happens that doesn't quite make sense,
a wizard
did it.
Oh, man.
So she meets him by the river. He gives her some, like, tofu that he was baking in the river.
She sends him ash back, though. Like, it's like, she feels the need to send a return message to him, and the return message is just ash. And his master comes in and is like, hey, she sent ash, did she?
She blew you off, did she?
Yeah. Women are nothing but trouble. Just stay away from that one. I need your pee.
Yeah.
Don't. Yeah. If you sleep with her, you are no longer useful to me.
Don't mess with that stream for me. That's very important. Yeah. As a pee vessel.
I got a feeling this little kid, he's going to grow up to be a bit of a player. So you got to stay.
Oh yeah, your child brother is definitely getting laid before you do.
I didn't think either one of you. Neither one of you I thought was likely to get laid, and that's why I chose you as my apprentices.
I gotta nip this shit in the bud right now.
But then he shows up, and he's bought her a sweet little treat, which in modern times would be all like, look, I bought you an ice cream, but because this is a period movie, no, he's gotten a dish of sweet gooey tofu, which he has chilled in the river, which in a not airtight container at all. So he picks this up and she's like, thank you. She takes one spoonful of it and she goes like, I've had enough. Which I'm all like, I would have too.
But she's kind enough to sample it for him.
Exactly.
And kind of put on an air of like, thank you.
So that cat tastes great.
This is nice.
That is riddled with parasites.
But she does it. Good on her.
Hope that virginity thing all works out for you.
And she's kind of setting him up here to flirt with her, but he drops the ball a little
pretty
bit.
fucking hard,
Yeah.
So a subplot happens where Black Wizard convinces the town folks that their village is cursed.
Oh, yeah. So she runs off, and then we go to this.
Yeah.
The great establishment of this scene is like two random farmers come in. There's like a pile of massacred chickens next to them. They go like, someone killed all of our chickens. And then two other farmers loudly run into the scene. They go like, someone has slaughtered all of our sheep. All of our sheep are dead. And then the Black Wizard strolls in. He's all like, I hear your animals have died. And they all immediately go, how did you know that? What are you talking about? You're standing next to a bunch of corpses, and you loudly just said there are more corpses over. Of course he knew. What are you talking about?
He must be a great magic user to read our minds like this.
We missed something, though, because he's stolen the egg gem of the little demon.
Of the little boy,
Because he's gunning for him,
Yeah. For some reason, he really doesn't like this one little man zombie.
Because he's an extremist.
Well, I think when does he steal it, though?
The night before the dead chicken pile.
Okay, so I can't remember how that goes down, but he steals it, and this is important because he's putting on a sham for these villagers.
He sneaks into Brother White's area or whatever, and he takes like a couple. He takes like a couple of things, but he takes the egg that the little guy is
in, and then he like makes a monster, doesn't he?
He makes the little guy bigger. Like he does some sort of magic on him, and it turns him into like a big zombie that doesn't seem more aggressive than the little guy. Like it doesn't look. He still looks like he doesn't want to fight, but the Black Wizard is putting on a big show, and everyone, all the townsfolk are cheering him on. And,
their cheering is really funny.
But then he turns.
Kill him.
Kill him. Did it work?
Kill him.
Right.
Take him out.
Kill him. And then like Brother White shows up, and he recognizes, this is the guy in the egg that I told him I'd get around to putting the rest.
So he set the little zombie as bait.
Yeah.
And so he does a ceremony, and he like brings him out of the ground for the villagers on display. Like, look how powerful I am. I'm doing this stuff. Give me all your money. That was a big part of it too, right?
Yeah.
Like, give me all. I was wondering why he did this.
You have to get all of your possessions as like a sacrifice, and then once I have expelled all the evil, you can have your sacrifices back. But it's like another weird thing because all of the townsfolk or whatever are seemingly onto him from the beginning because he shows up right after all the corpses have been found. He says like, I can help, and like there's one background person who's just all like, well, you're clearly a con man.
Yeah.
Because this is how that happens. Something bad happens, and then someone shows up saying that they have a solution to it. Yeah. That's how con people work.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
but
that
he proves himself.
And he proves himself, but he is indeed conning them because he's trying to get access to all of their children, all of their virgin. He's all like, my brother's got all that virgin pee. I'll show him.
Yeah.
I'll get an army of virgin pee.
Yeah. I forgot that was his end game.
That was
He's like, I guess he wants to grow like his school of thought. Child army. He wants to grow his school of thought for like how to dispatch these monsters. He's like, I took care of this demon creature for you guys.
Oh,
and if you wanted to learn these
secrets,
he kills him. He kills the demon.
He blows him up.
He blows him up into big little chunks. Yeah.
This side character who was like quite, I think, could have been a major player.
Yeah.
Like movies could have based a whole arc on this one little guy
if they had bothered to give him a name.
Yeah, and
I think this is the one character who is not named. I think he's just little demon.
Yeah,
and
so the townsfolk are swayed away from Brother White and his path for peace and giving these guys a nice send off. And so this is like at his darkest moment. The townsfolk are completely taken in by a black wizard, and he says like, I'll teach your virgin boys. I'll teach them my style of magic so they can protect your village forever.
Which sounds really sus.
Yeah,
like, give me all your virgin boys.
It's all like, well, he got rid of this one zombie for it, so I see no issue with this. All right,
line up like
burn him out. There's a funny moment like right before he starts, I guess, hypnotizing all of the children or whatever, where after he's blown up the little person zombie, Brother White looks at him and says, "So then the darkness has taken you," and then he responds by just punching him in the face. That's his response. That's his immediate response to that statement. It's just punch. He has nothing left to say.
It is like strategically pretty on the
Take that!
What a very priestly move.
Yeah.
He's the darkness has him. He's bad now. I guess. And that's what bad people do is they take the initiative.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, and he smears some red paint on all of the children, and they all start doing kung fu in unison.
Like they were
really
Like it was all downloaded right into their heads, like in the Matrix.
Yeah. Like there is like a good solid 2 minutes of this movie where the plot stops and it's just these kids doing kung fu.
Oh yeah, this is every beat of this movie. The plot stops and we just see. They just stick with one beat for 2 minutes, showing all the iterations of this thing happening.
And then Master White shows up and he sees them on the board. He's all like, "Oh, it's phantom chess."
Well,
I got really excited for all of this. All of a sudden,
we kind of zoom out into this chessboard.
Well, what happens is like he comes by, he sees like, oh, these kids are like they're pretty indestructible, like they're superhuman now. But he says like, hey, parents, try calling your kids over. And they're oh shit,
the sham is revealed.
Yeah,
and then one of the parents says, "It's black magic." To which I said, "Yeah, his name is the Black Wizard." What did you think?
All of a sudden,
what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah, he's a black wizard who does black magic.
Your kids
demonstrates his black magic for them.
I'm going to turn all your kids into like this virgin army and like this indestructible, like super strong virgin army. And
we have a super strong virgin army too. It's called QAnon. Hey!
Yeah, I was going to say this is how they see themselves.
A real Twilight-esque emphasis on the purity of virginity, right? And the power of virginity in this movie. Virgin piss is great. These virgin boys are great.
Yeah, nothing better than life than being a virgin, apparently.
That's the part of the episode I'm going to isolate.
No, best years of my life. Fuck, I got that recorded now. So yeah,
I won't take it out of context.
I'm sure you won't. Brother White challenges the Black Wizard to a game of phantom chess
using children.
Yeah, which is an amazing sentence. Yeah, that's worth highlighting.
So he says to Fire, like, all right, set up the board, little one. He's like, okay, great. Who's the strongest man? And instead of picking, I don't know, Hulk Hogan or whatever, he just makes like these little like crossing guard paper stand-up people who turn
very quickly.
Very quickly.
He does that in a matter of seconds.
Little paper men, and those turn into kids. So now it's the Virgin Army versus the paper kids, and that kind of devolves into the opening credits to Beast Wars for half a second. Where like
all the kids have these fiery animals showing up ahead of them. Where
they actually do manage to get all of the major animal transformations that were in Beast Wars, because it's bat versus eagle, and then scorpion versus tiger, and then tarantula versus dragon. Actually, there were transformers for all of those animals. I'm just realizing.
And it's fucking insane. And then just a brawl breaks up between these.
Phantom chess is literally just sending two armies against each other and having them fight.
It's a playground fight.
They might need to be reminded the rules of chess. Yes, because it's a bit of a skirmish.
Like in chess, where all the pieces move at the same time constantly.
That's how I play chess.
Yeah.
But so these two adults are pitting children against each other in a little pit fight.
Well, half of them aren't real children. Half of them are paper children. So you can do whatever you want with them. Yeah. They're paper, and they're also monks. So really, you can do whatever you want to them.
Yeah, why does he have these two shitty apprentices when he can just create apprentices willy-nilly whenever he wants? Why did he do any of this in the tavern when he was fighting endless zombies?
Well, he does lots of things that he does. We're going back to the tavern. There's a thing that I forgot where he has like this seemingly like this big OP move where like the tattoos on his head grow, and then he like sends out like this big force field that knocks over all of the zombies, but then they stand perfectly still. It's all like, get away.
Yeah.
That was the reason you did that, is because you're getting overwhelmed, so you got to get out of this situation.
Space, yeah.
And they just stand where they are, and they let the zombies overwhelm them again. It's like, what was the point of the forehead move if you weren't going to do anything
Catch
with
your
it?
breath.
Like, ideally, what should have happened there is that using that big AoE effect like takes a lot of energy, and so he's pretty exhausted after it. So that's the cue for his fucking apprentices to like, all right, let's drag our master out of here because he's exhausted after that big attack.
But to answer your question, Brad, he attempted it, but as we all know, paper children piss sawdust. So it didn't work out for him.
I just read it as like, those paper children, they're not real people, they're pawns in this game.
Yes.
And you have to teach actual living people how to be the Taoist priest or whatever.
I just want like the town constable to come by after this is all over and just
What's
be all
all
like,
this then?
So you have the ability to make children at any point out of paper, and they're just like real life tangible children. You can do anything. I think you better come back to the station with me. I got some questions I need you to answer.
Yeah. But this is a small village. Like,
Yeah.
you saw the number of adults in this village numbering about, 8?
Yeah.
9?
Yeah.
But there is an army of children that these guys have that are all roughly the same age.
And they all appear to be boys.
Yep.
Yeah.
No one had any girls in this town.
And this is a studio that was famous for making female-led action movies, so it could have been like
and
some
there's
girls.
one female character
There's
in this
one
movie.
lady in the movie.
Is that right?
They branched out.
Yeah.
And she's not really much of a character.
No.
There's like one female villager that I saw.
Yeah.
You saw? Okay, that's nice.
Okay, I saw and I noted it because it was weird, because it was the scene where Black makes the demonstration with the little person zombie, and he has all the townspeople. He's all like, everyone take this one piece of paper, and I noted that it's all men and then just one woman. I noted that because it was weird to see another woman in this movie. And there's like women zombies. There's a couple of like evil dead ladies and stuff, but like there's one woman has a speaking role.
Maybe...
other than the voice actor who does the voice of Fire. That's also very clearly a woman.
Oh.
But
I think this is just another big tell that this movie is just chock full of virginity.
Oh my god. So the demon chess. So the kids are fighting.
Yeah, and Black Wizard loses. He loses the Phantom chess, and
you might say that everyone was kung fu fighting. I fucked it up. It's everybody was kung fu fighting. I fucked it up. Keep going.
All right, so Black Wizard and Moon.
Those guys were as
Black Wizard and Moon
as lightning.
All right. And this movie is a little bit frightening.
Yeah.
It's a little bit scary, isn't it?
The bad guys lose and they fuck off, and Black Wizard gets drunk in the forest and just says like, oh, it's all that Brother White's fault. And we get a bit of a backstory. Apparently he was like the favorite to be, the top student, but Brother White was just a better student, even though he...
Oh yeah, so he inherited it, didn't he? He inherited the temple or whatever, the training area.
He cheated on election day. He cheated. He stole the election
he stole the election.
I should have been the head of the Shaolin temple. It's fake.
Stuff that counts.
It's fake kung fu's, everyone.
Well, I mean, like, Brother Black is legitimately a good martial artist.
Yeah. I mean, they're both good at what they do. It's their methods. Their methods that put them at odds.
And then Brother Black goes and does something I don't know what his plan here was.
So he goes into to the shrine that's in the village.
He goes to the holy part of the shrine that he was told earlier he wasn't allowed to go into because he was holy.
Mm-hmm.
But he's all like, I play by my own rules, and he lets himself in. And then there's a coffin being suspended, so it's not touching the ground, so it's holier,
I guess.
It's in a giant turtle.
Yeah.
Right, it's in a giant turtle. Yep, absolutely.
And in that coffin, there's a gemstone, and he takes it for himself because at the end of the day, he's just a thief. And stealing that gemstone, summons like a super zombie,
a vampire lord, or
this
something.
This is like we find out in the ending credits that this is apparently the Vampire King.
Oh.
First, we're hearing of this.
Okay.
But this is like,
by stealing the sealing gem, which is what it was, right? Like it's a gem to seal it. Look, like everything here is sealing.
Right.
The paper is sealing. The gems are sealing.
There's magic all over the goddamn place in this universe.
But why was Brother Black going into this place in the first place? Why did he open the coffin? Why did he take the sealing gem?
I think at the time he was talking about how he needed some. He was talking a little bit about it.
Need more power.
Yeah, he needs some items or something like that. And he's like, oh, well, maybe this will help me or something like that.
But he reanimates like this powerful evil, and then he's all like, you're not getting away from me. And it's all like, but you did this.
Yeah.
You're the one that brought him to and like, why? So what was your point? What was your plan? What was your plan, Black Wizard? Here's what I want to know.
But he quickly dispatches him, and he
puts
him back in the coffin,
uses
and
the
he
ceiling.
seals him up, and he uses blood. He's like, I got this covered. Goes back to his hideout.
That was a close one.
Goes back to his hideout, where we find that the real enemy here is condensation. And drips from the ceiling. What are they, stalactites at the top or stalagmites?
Oh, fuck me. I think it's stalactites because they're from the top.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think that's...
dry icicles.
So it drips over the seal and erases the seal.
Yeah.
And Vampire Guy gets out. Cut to the hideout with all the bad guys being bad guys. We didn't know this guy had a cadre of bad guys, did we?
Were they a cadre? I think they were just random townspeople.
They were
just having some drinks
but they
at a bar.
They were all saying evil shit. Every one of them in this room was saying bad guy stuff. They're all being evil.
Oh, I remember that. I was almost certain they're just like sitting around there just going like, "Who's at the door? We're drinking our drinks. Get out of here!"
This was another Walla moment where you hear all the Walla guys going like, "I am so drunk right now. I am drunk.
I want to continue drinking liquid and get incapacitated by it.
We are drunk together.
We are drunk brothers."
That was
it's a very Kung-Pao moment. We are both ventriloquists.
That was a fun day in the ADR booth.
Come on, have another drink. So drunk. Excuse me, sir. Piss off. Get out of here.
We mentioned this already earlier, but this is around the time where Fire poops out the egg baby.
Oh my god.
Is this when that happens?
Yeah, he wakes up in the morning with fucking indigestion and he runs to an outhouse. He's like, oh boy, a toilet. And
we see like the actual, like his stomach expanding like in a way that is very unhealthy. He's like, he looks around and has like a big expression. A toilet.
Yeah, I'm trying to find my notes. Where was I? Oh, here they are. I just wrote, ha ha ha, great, when that happened. Because he runs into the outhouse or whatever. He's got like the demon inside of him, and then the outhouse explodes.
Yeah.
We've all been there, right?
The comic timing was incredible on that moment. Oh my god.
Yeah, and so it's implied, but never shown, that he has shit out this demon.
Yes.
As big as he is.
As big as he is, it is an actual naked little boy who is covered in shaving cream. And he does find an article of clothing to put over him, but it's not quite enough because we do unfortunately get to see some little boy butt later on as well. Like, all right, okay, Hong Kong.
And the whole time, the little egg baby is like, "Mama, mama."
Yeah, his only line, "Mama, mama, mama."
Yeah. And this is what I was saying earlier, because before when he was in his tummy, he was just saying full sentences. He was saying, "Get me out of here," but now he's just like
he's
a little
reincarnated as a shaving cream baby.
Yeah,
and this is all he wants to say.
And his name is Little Egg.
And after a while, Fire's motherly instincts kick in because he
tries to abandon him.
Leave me the fuck alone. And then, like, as he's walking back to the village, he has like all these horrible thoughts of him like getting caught in a snare and falling off a cliff.
Oh my god, the kid falling off a cliff, because it's just such an obvious dummy. He's all like, anything could happen to him, and it is just like boom, 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 and the speed with which this dummy falls down this cliff.
And he's
God,
like,
it's so funny.
And he is my own flesh and blood. What if something happens to him?
Yeah.
Like, so he's taking ownership. He's taking responsibility.
He came out of my colon. He's my own flesh and blood, and maybe some other liquids.
Yeah. So he takes this kid back to Sun, and Sun is like, "What do you got there?" "Oh, we can't tell the most competent person we hang out with, the person who is so kind and benevolent and is looking to help spirits everywhere.
Who will immediately know what to do."
This is the one person we cannot tell about your little egg baby.
We're going to get in deep shit if we tell him about this.
Yeah, me and you, we will keep this tiny child demon a secret.
For all of, like, maybe 20 minutes.
And then Master White shows up, and they've managed to put Egg Baby in like a full Zhang-Chi outfit or whatever, and he's
like, "Hey, Master, you forgot one."
Yeah, and he's all like, "What's going on? Move out of the way." And he moves out of the way, and Master White's immediately just all like, "Oh, little poop baby, huh?" All right, go. Like he doesn't
you passed the egg, huh?
Any explanation. Yeah.
So he's probably been clocking this demon growing in his child apprentice for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had an egg timer inside his head.
Yeah. So he quickly accepts the situation.
Yeah.
Proving once again that he really is quite the master at this.
They trained for this sort of thing at the academy.
But this child, is the worst sidekick.
Until he saves the day.
He really does. You see why he was introduced to the plot.
Yeah, in the last fucking 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
So the super zombie finds Black Wizard at the at like a restaurant or a hotel or whatever, and they duke it out, and Black Wizard isn't powerful enough to
He's
fight
been
him off.
possessed by the kin of the vampires at this point, right?
Yes.
Because the kin of the vampires gets out because the seal gets the water on it, and he's able to escape.
Yeah.
And I think
they have a long fight scene, yeah.
They do.
But he wins. The Vampire King wins.
Yeah.
And possesses him.
Moon at one point like fucks off and realizes like, I gotta go get Son and Brother White to help him out here. And that's when Black Wizard gets possessed by the super zombie, Vampire King, tomato. Sure. And yeah, then there's another awesome fight scene at the end of the movie that, all hope seems lost, and right up until Little Egg.
A character that has grown in our hearts for the entire 10 minutes that he has been on screen. Mm-hmm. This isn't a character who has just shown up.
He rolls himself in voodoo paper and jumps onto the back of Black Wizard, and then a fireworks display goes off.
Yeah, it's not intentional either. He falls into the seals, doesn't he?
I guess
like
so.
He trips and falls into a bunch of strewn out ceiling paper.
Yeah.
And it just stuck to him, and then he just mindlessly charged. He's not intending to save the day.
No.
This is tragic.
And I'm not even entirely sure if he does save the day, because as we're watching these two human beings go off like a firecracker, cut to credits.
The movie ends.
We can't stress enough how abrupt this is. It's not even a cut. It's just like a snap cut immediately. The credits are going, and then there's like a box on the side that is showing you scenes from the next movie that's coming out, and there is like a voiceover explaining what happens in the next movie. It's like, and the fight will continue, but everything will be fine, and everything worked out.
I just listened to it right before the record.
Yeah.
I think it's trying to end that movie.
Because
it
says,
says,
how it's desperately trying to wrap the story.
Like a narrator says 2 lines of dialogue. One of them being like, and the Vampire King was banished to like another universe or something like that.
Can you imagine like going to see like Doctor Strange 2, and you're watching it, and it's like they're at a point where it's all like, all right, we got like the magic MacGuffin to like save the deal, and then it just cuts to black, and it's just like Benedict Cumberbatch is just all like, yeah, and then they had like a fight, but everything worked out fine in the end. And,
or the end of Fight Club. It would just be like, and then he blew up all the banks.
Well,
and, just in a narrator or something.
In the countries where they have to edit Fight Club for like anti-capitalist reasons, I actually think like China, they have to edit the ending of Fight Club so that it doesn't have like the ending where he blows up all the corporations and stuff. I think they actually have included a voiceover scene that's all like, yeah, and then he got like arrested, and like because they have like laws down there where like crime can't go unpunished or something. So yeah, they do still edit stuff out of movies where it's all like, oh, maybe the bad guy kind of won a little bit. Like, no, we can't have that here.
No ambiguity. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like a movie where the most jarring ending would be done in description. What do you think? What would be the most?
Off the top of my head, maybe Jaws. And then
and then they kill the shark.
Yeah, and then the sheriff had to swim back to shore.
As
he's falling into the shark's mouth.
So like
everything turned out fine in the end. It's a very like Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah, the movie ends when Quint gets eaten by the shark, and then it's just like a quick little piece, like 2-line dialogue, and then it's all like, yeah, and then they blew the shark up, and everything was fine. It was fine.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Maybe there'll be a Jaws 2. We don't know. Maybe.
So my friends and I had seen the sequel. All that amazing stuff that we saw, because it does look...
It's great.
It looks...
Some of it, like the underwater fight scene, looks better than anything we've seen in the movie.
It's fully finished. It's a fully finished VFX.
People were paid.
Yeah. An army of Jiangxi descend on like a temple at one point.
Wow.
Yeah.
All of the...
I want to see this
all
movie.
of the budget.
Yeah.
All of the budget
in.
went into these scenes that aren't in this movie.
But they're shown on the credits.
Yeah.
Like, as the credits roll, there's a bunch of clips not in the movie that are amazing.
Yeah. So all that amazing CGI stuff happens in maybe like the last 10 minutes of the movie. But I will say, in that sequel's favor, for some reason, the little kid's not in it.
Hey!
Wait, Fire?
Fire and Egg are not in the sequel.
Already a better movie.
Yeah.
But Sun is?
Yes, and I believe Moon in as well, also the Black Wizard.
Now, I read one description, I can't remember if it was IMDb or Wikipedia, but apparently the sequel is also kind of a prequel. Is it not? Is it? I thought I read one description that said it's like an explanation of what happened to the Black Wizard and the White Master before
maybe
the events of the movie.
It's been a while since I've seen that
So
one.
they're kind of doing a little Better Call Saul action where some of it's a prequel, some of it's a sequel.
Yeah.
So does Fire lose his virginity? Is that why he's
That's
not
why
around?
they couldn't hang out with him anymore.
His piss is tainted.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a virgin. He's a parent now.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. In a way. Did he not lose his virginity when he gave birth?
So, yeah, Brother White has no further use for him.
That's right, so he let them go off and live their
It was
happy
immaculate
little life.
conception. He got an egg.
Egg was destroyed.
Yeah, does the movie... He got a little scrambled, yeah. Sorry. I'm sorry, I felt bad. I felt bad saying that.
Yeah.
Joke went over easy.
Does the second movie open with, like, 2 lines of, like, dialogue was all like, yeah, and Fire and Egg fucked off. And
I have no idea.
Yeah, they're going around and stuff like that.
He was the miracle baby.
Yeah, but...
But that's Shaolin versus Evil Dead.
And they show the credits and they show these scenes from the next movie or whatever. And then, as I was saying earlier, they continue to show the scenes from the next movie until like the very end of the credits. But the score just drops out at a certain point, and the last minute of the movie is just total silence. But there's still images, so it's really fucking weird. They just ran out of music, and no one bothered to fix that.
Kinda
And
like
again, it's
Manos,
easy.
right? Manos Hands of Fate,
a
when they
little
got the
Manos,
credits to just silence because they forgot to put the music in.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. But this is such an easier fix. Like I said, take like an earlier section of the music and just loop it over again until you have enough music to finish your damn score. But they didn't bother because no one was still.
We got to save like some kind of money for the sequel. Like we shot all these special
save
effects.
all the money.
Bring the
for the
narrator
sequel.
back in. Just get him to make up a bunch of other things that happen.
Yeah, make the sequel an audiobook.
Yeah, Sun and Moon had a great romance.
Oh my God.
It was good. They didn't sleep together, so we can still have him back for the next one.
For the sequel.
The narrator just says a bunch of things,
He
right?
filled up a bunch of jars before they went on the date.
God.
Jesus.
He's got them
It's
in the
got to
river.
be fresh, Cass.
That's the problem is they don't have refrigeration back there, so you just got to put them in the river next to the tofu.
It's got to be fresh.
You don't want to mess
warm-
those jars up.
Fresh,
Oh my God,
warm
just marinating
virgin
the tofu
piss.
in the wrong jar. Oh, good Christ.
This movie's a little weird.
Oh, you think?
The kung fu is great.
Is there anything
and the
else?
practical effects, right? Like when Black Wizard is pulling his sham off on the villagers and he's zooming between the trees.
Yeah, he's
that
got weird.
looks really good.
He's got weird extra powers that that Brother White doesn't have access to because he can like teleport or it's like super speed or something. Yeah.
Like they're very powerful, and their powers seem to be changing with whatever the scene needs. But they're great, and the effects look good, and the kung fu looks, I think, really good when it's. Even though all of it is at a 45-degree angle, or the camera switches from one 45-degree angle back to like whatever it is on the other side.
So, like, I guess that begs the question: do you think this movie has a certain something, or is it just a whole lot of nothing?
I think this movie has got something.
Oh yeah,
I think this
It's
is.
it's an undeniable something movie.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, we couldn't have talked about it with the joy and elation that we did if we didn't think this movie had a certain something. Yeah, it's short.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube. You can search for this. You will have to watch an ad every 5 minutes, like I did. But that has more to do with the steady downfall of YouTube as a platform to begin with. You can't watch anything now without an ad every like 7 minutes.
Yeah.
But so it's a little bit longer than an hour and a half,
but completely watchable.
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
a completely watchable movie from, I would say, start to finish.
I would say
they
so,
never leave you either unentertained or confused.
No, there's no
You are
boring-
always
No.
one or the
There's
other.
no boring parts to it.
It never takes his foot off the gas pedal, and even in the moments where things slow down a lot, like there's the slapstick moments where where his son is meeting Moon in the village, and there's just like the crazy stuff that is like completely foreign to us, but just hilarious to watch, like the paper crane stuff, the messages that they send to each other, and you know, like the little comedy moments where Fire's walking around with little egg, you know, like that has. I mean, the kung fu in this is fantastic. I think the horror scenes, like where the zombies are all bursting out of graves and through the walls, that's really exciting and really well done. Yeah, this movie never lost me.
Look, if you're asking the question, if you're listening to this and you're asking the question, should I watch this movie? Can I reiterate? There's a child who poops out another egg child, who then follows him around and calls him mama for the entire movie. And it's just like, if you don't want to see that, why are you even listening to this podcast?
Exactly.
You're not the demographic for us.
What a treat.
Yeah.
What a treat.
It was a nice way to wake up. It was a nice, even though it was a gross. Don't eat a meal while you're watching it. It's kind of a gross movie. Yeah. And they kind of front load it with the gross stuff. It's pretty.
Right off the bat. Yeah. Right off the bat, it's all about virgin pee and eating maggots.
There's good practical effects in this too.
Yeah.
There's a scene, I don't remember what happens, but there's a scene where the Black Wizard conjures up a zombie and reminded me of like the birth of the Urkai in Lord of the Rings, because it's doing that thing where he kind of like bursts out of like a sack, and it's obviously just a piece of fabric that they've stretched really thin and the guy's getting out, but they've made it like extra goopy.
Yeah.
Like it's a goopy sack.
Was this when the Black Wizard was recreating
the little
demon, but making him a big demon so that he gets...
Oh, is that what happened? Oh, okay, all right.
So that's what he was doing.
I forgot what the context of it was, but I remember how cool it looked. It looked very impressive.
He took like 3 black eggs, and then they did like a time lapse thing where the eggs got rotten, and then they melted into a pot, and then they turned black, and then he tossed like a
that was him destroying previous souls.
Okay,
that was his goal there. He's like, I'm destroying these because I'm a bad guy, but I'm going to use this one, which is our charming little sidekick demon who just wants to be just wants to be loved. Yeah, he is a little buddy.
And Black Wizard tosses like a talisman or something, and then out of the pot comes like this gooey glove to grab it up, just snatch it out of the air. It's so cool. It's so like throwback to like 70s like horror shit like that. I loved it.
Oh man, the little guy, the little demon guy, he's one of the only ones who has like a really achievable arc. I think like a character want. Mm-hmm. Like his want is to just be put to rest, and
that's robbed of him. It really is
tragic. Fire doesn't have a character want. The child, like a lot of characters,
he wants to be a great Shaolin master.
Does he? When does he say that?
Well, you would assume if he was an apprentice to a great Shaolin master, he might eventually. That's the end goal for him.
He might be there against his will.
I know Sun is a little more like career focused, but you know there is an age difference between the two of them.
But I mean, the little demon guy though has a moment where he's like, "This is what I want as a character," whereas we never really get that from Fire. And like, while even White and Black, the two wizards, even they have principles that they state out loud, but we don't really have a far-reaching character want for them. Most of the characters are just going from scene to scene, having things happen at them. But this little demon guy, he had me.
Yeah.
He had me like invested in his. I hope he gets what he wants.
Do you suppose in life he was a little person, or was that like a transformation that happened to him when he crossed over into the next realm? Because we see him like grow into a taller version of himself through like the aid of like the black magic. Do you suppose, because he's also a lot more vocal than the other zombies we see attack, he can say
he's
like
intelligent
full sentences? So like, is this like a thing? Is this like a lore thing where it's all like the more sort of like self-aware you are as a member of the Evil Dead, sort of like the more you kind of like shrink in stature, or like I don't know. There's like a lot going on here that I don't know because I'm not privy to the culture here.
Yeah, I think he, like in his introduction, he does mention something, and like there's a lot that goes on in this movie, so I probably just missed it. But he probably explained that like he had like an improper burial or something, and he can't pass on. He's stuck in limbo, so he's like a different thing than the Jiangxi and the vampires and the zombies.
There's so many subsections of ghosts, undead in this, but I think weirdly enough, this might be the little person actor who's appeared in a movie we've watched that it was treated with the most respect and decency. That's saying a lot based on the movies that we watch here.
With little people.
No one, he doesn't have a character name, but at least they weren't calling him Shorty or Short Stack
or any of the other terrible names that.
No, they just used him as bait and then blew him up.
Yeah, but
he's no Grendel or Hargan.
No.
Oh man,
I forgot about Hargan. I'm sorry. Hargan is number one.
That's
clearly,
right.
of course. Yeah. Brad Duffy, thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks for being here on the show, man. Good to see you again.
Thanks for the. It was a short notice throwing this one together, but thank you for saying yes and coming and hanging out with us on this.
What a delight!
On this
Anytime,
yeah.
Anytime. I'm gonna watch the sequel to this.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and as we stated, we've sort of like changed the concept of the podcast since the last time you were here. Now we're sort of there's more of a focus now on looking through actors' filmographies and then watching a movie that is the most anonymous and untalked about movie that they've done. So if you ever wanted to come back on the show and you ever wanted to throw an actor at us and you're interested in seeing the most anonymous movie that they've made, it's an open invitation. Have some thoughts about that. Yeah, is there anything you got going on coming up that you wanted to promote, or anything you wanted to recommend, or just anything you wanted to say to the people at home right now?
I mean, you can always see me in commercials. I do a lot of those. But if you're in the Vancouver area, feel free to come to check me out at the Improv Center on Granville Island, or at Sin Peaks, the improvised soap opera on Commercial Drive. Those are ongoing, and I should be doing those for at least the near future.
Okay.
That's coming up. It's been a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much for getting me to watch this.
You're so welcome.
Course, yeah.
And Jameson, as we're recording this, tomorrow is the day of your big premiere.
Tomorrow's the big day for the release of The Truth is Afoot, the animated movie that I've been working on with Kevin Getz, past guest friend of the show. It's a funny, heartfelt little animated dramedy about a hiker that finds Bigfoot, and then Bigfoot asks the hiker to help him meet other Bigfoot. And I'm in it, Kaz is in it, a bunch of old guests from the show are on it. And we're having a premiere at the Rio, which I really can't believe. It's an afternoon matinee, one-time showing, and then eventually we're going to put the whole thing up on YouTube. We're going to try submitting it to festivals. But yeah, I am so happy that this day has finally come, and people get to see the fruits of our labor.
Fantastic. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be great. I haven't been to a movie premiere maybe ever.
Yeah.
So this will be my first one. I'm excited. Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. That was Shaolin vs. Evil Dead, directed by Douglas Kung. If you like this episode, please listen to our back catalog of other episodes where we have recorded under the title of The Fuck Is This? It's the exact same show as this. It's just a little less actor-focused or whatnot. We're on all of the social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of that. We're also on YouTube if you're not already watching this on YouTube, but if you're listening to this on Spotify or somewhere else, if this is the future and I've managed to put it on Apple, I don't know, maybe I'll never do that. But we're also on YouTube, and Jameson adds a visual element to that over there. So if you want to see photos of what we're talking about, that's where he's got
your
that.
Destination.
We'd like to thank Joel Flynn and Luke Schuss and Podstream Studios for letting us use their equipment. We'd like to thank Eddie Lamb for his fantastic theme music. And that's it. Next week, more Halloween goodness. There's 2 months of Halloween. No, what was it? It was
Nothing Spookies.
Nothing Spookies. Nothing Spookies continues. God, that's fucking great.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing that we've come out with today is Nothing Spookies.
It all led to this.
It will require you to make a new graphic. I'm
here for it.
But it's Nothing Spookies. It's
going
to be incredible. But anyway, that's this episode. Join us next time for our Halloween goodness. Until then, I'm Kaz.
I'm Jameson, and I'll leave you all with this parting. And you guys can join in too if you know it.
I wrote it down too.
The night is dark and the road is long.
The road is long.
Come on, dead men, return to your homes.
But I'm strong, strong enough to carry on.
Let's just have that carry us out.
With virgin peace.
We're not topping that. Good night, everybody. Nothing better than life than being a virgin.